I'm delighted to be able to bring you our December International Update. And at the end of this year, I really want to thank you for your prayers in the past 12 months. We really do believe that much of what we're seeing around the world would never have taken place but for your prayers. So a big, big thank you. I've just returned from 2.5 weeks travelling around Australia and New Zealand. I had the opportunity to meet hundreds of our prayer partners in Australia at various thank you dinners that we had in the major cities. We've got 2 main prayer requests for our work in Australia right now. Jonathan Rodwell, who has led the work there for a number of years, feels that it's time for him to move on to other ministry within OM. So the board and our area leader Mike Hay are really looking for a new field leader, and we'd appreciate your prayers very much for that. We've never owned our own office in Australia. We've moved from one rented premises to another, but we are in the process of buying an office building in Melbourne. We're going to close on the deal on the 12th of December. The office building will cost about 2 million Australian dollars, and we need about 400,000 to develop the building. Once the building is up and running, we're going to let out a certain section of it, and this will bring in about 200,000 Australian dollars a year to cover much of the administrative cost of running OM Australia. So it's a project I'm very, very excited about. So far we've got about 1.1 million towards the 2 million that we need to close on the 12th of December. So I'd appreciate your prayers for that. I moved on from Australia to New Zealand, where we're in the process of a field leaders change. Stephen Brandon, who's worked with us here in Carlisle for a number of years, is hoping to take over the leadership of the work in about April of next year. He needs to see some significant financial breakthroughs in order to be able to do that. So again, I'd appreciate your prayers for him as he seeks to raise funds to enable him to take over this ministry. Christmas is evangelism opportunity time. Let me just remind you of some of the very special outreaches we have in OM during the Christmas period. In France, Toulon, there's the Nativity Spectacular Christmas Lights Special. 2 weeks of outreach, a family musical production with the goal of reaching 5,000 people with the good news. The Brussels area of Belgium, teams will use Christmas cards, conversations, and art exhibition in the Christmas markets and the city centre to share the real message of the season. In London, our Lights of London programme will work with Turkish and Arabic churches to share the truth of Christmas with the Muslims, the many, many Muslims who visit that city. Just 3 examples of many special Christmas outreaches that we'd appreciate your prayers for. As you know, the date when I will stand down as the International Co-ordinator of OM has been announced, and that's going to be August 2013, and we're well into the process now of looking for my successor. The nominations team will be meeting next week, and they've called for a day of prayer on the 12th of January, that God will lead us to the right leader and associates to work with him from August 2013 onwards. And we'd appreciate, if it's at all possible, that you would give some special time in prayer on the 12th of January for this process, praying that God will lead us to the person or persons of his choice to fill this role. It's remarkable that last month in Kota Kinabalu, the 1 millionth visitor walked onto Logos Hope. That's the 1 millionth visitor in the year 2011. That's actually the 6th time that record has been achieved. 5 times during the ministry of MV Doulos, more than 1 million visitors visited the ship. Please pray that the million, maybe 1,100,000 by the end of the year, who've walked onto the ship Logos Hope might remember their visit, and that something of that memory might stimulate them to think of Christ and their need of him. We still have great needs on board Logos Hope. Please keep praying for that key chief engineer role that we need to be filled. We also need a number of short-term people with particular skills during 2012. We're looking for welders, pipe fitters, carpenters, electricians who can give a few weeks or a few months to help us on board the ship. If you know of anyone who's available and has those skills, don't hesitate to be in touch with me. Just a couple of stories which I've found very moving and challenging during the past month. Firstly, from Algeria, where we meet Layla, a devout Muslim, praying in the mosque. And as she prays, she sees a vision of a man in front of her saying, "I'll teach you how to pray." She panics, stops praying. One day, Layla visits her brother's home. When he and his wife went out, she switches on the TV, flips through the channels, comes across a Christian program, listens to a man preaching about Jesus. She jumps up exclaiming, "Jesus, he was the one revealing himself to me in the mosque." Layla calls the phone number on the screen, shares her story with our team at the House of Hope. She's now in fellowship with other believers in the area. Our leader in Algeria says, "What God is doing in Algeria today is totally unique in history. We've seen the power of God in amazing ways." God is working in Algeria, probably in response to your prayers, but please keep praying. I'm sure you've been as moved as I have been by the 2 recent earthquakes in Turkey. Even in the midst of the tragedy, God is doing amazing things. 6 people have come to know Jesus in the earthquake area in the last month. They've come to know Jesus as a result of the love shown to them by Christians, particularly through the hot food kitchen which has been provided. Pray, please, that they'll grow in Christ. We've now sent to the relief team working there hundreds of copies of a book about fear, and each of these books has the opportunity to sign up to the Bible correspondence course, which God has used so much over the years in the country of Turkey. Freedom Climb, that's the name given to the ascent of Mount Kilimanjaro, which will be attempted on the 11th of January 2012. That's the National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Climbers will be raising awareness, prayer and finances for women and children being oppressed, enslaved, exploited and trafficked. The goal for 2012 is to affect the lives of 10,000 women through projects that break the cycles of poverty, shame, slavery and despair. This has really caught on, this freedom climb. It's getting a lot of publicity, and again, we'd appreciate that you would pray for positive results from this initiative. Each month I want to highlight one crucial job need in Operation Mobilization. I guess I'm doing 2 this month because I've already mentioned the chief engineer job on Logos Hope. But we've an equally critical need for the head of information technology for OM worldwide. It's a senior management role reporting directly to me as international coordinator. If you know of anyone with real understanding of the world of IT whom God is calling into ministry, I would be delighted to hear from you. You can write to me at peter.maidenom.org. Again, as we come to the end of this year, thank you for your prayers. Have a great Christmas. Look forward to speaking to you in the new year.